Hello everybody and welcome back to Conor here. Hope you're doing really well. Leeds United managed to get the win down at Kenilworth Road. Jesus Christ, is everyone able to breathe now? An absolutely frantic game for a moment one. And listen, we got the win. I sort of didn't expect us to get the win, so and in what great fashion it was as well. Leeds United managing to get it in sort of the 88th, 89th minute, rounded off by the man who's been out of form really, Patrick Bamford, with his third goal in 2 games. And let's hope the streak now starts for Patrick Bamford, because we know what sort of striker he is. Very streaky. And hopefully this vein of form can last an entire season. Wouldn't that be great? But listen, let's start from the beginning. Leeds started really well, and I'll be brutally honest with you guys. It was one of the performances of the season in the first half for me. It really was. I don't think there's been many halves where we've started that well. I really don't. I think normally we're quite sluggish when we get into the game. We don't really get hold of it, mirroring last season where the first halves used to bite us on the bums a little bit, to be quite frank, because we didn't start. We lost sort of 45 minutes where we could have taken it to the opposition. And I sort of feel sometimes this season it's had the same feel about it. But that game, listen, moment one, I thought we did really, really well. Passing the ball around very fluidly. Pablo Hernandez, the squad at the start, as a lot of you who follow me on Twitter and Instagram will know, I wasn't happy with it. I didn't want to see Helder Costa out of the side. A year ago today, he was scoring a third goal at Wembley for Wolverhampton Wanderers against Tottenham Hotspur. The reason I mention, sorry about that, his calibre in front of goal is literally because he's been at that level. £15 million, I consistently quote that, and I say it on Twitter and Instagram all the time. The reason why I quote that is because we've got a player for £15 million, guys. The reason you pay £15 million for a player is because he's of the next level calibre. This is a guy who's played with Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, we need to bear that in mind. He is a top player. So when I didn't see him in the side, I was a little bit gutted, because I think he's been getting into it a lot more. He's been getting involved a lot more, and you saw that when he came on today. Absolutely brilliant when he came on. A lot of you think I ride the coattails of him and he's been average. I mean, I just must see a completely different game to what you guys are seeing. I thought he was brilliant when he came on. I think he's been brilliant as well. I'm just going to talk about him for 2 seconds. The reason, I've got a lot of an affiliation with Costa and a lot of time for Costa is because there's a player in there. Some people write him off already, which is so hypocritical when you give players like Bamford and Harrison sort of 30 to 40 games and make excuses for them to get running when Helder Costa's had 7 games and he's been growing and growing and growing. So when I saw that at the start, I wasn't very happy. I'll be brutally honest with you. I wasn't very happy. I thought maybe Pablo should have been benched. And Costa, this was an ideal game for him. You look at him, he's coming on against Martin Craney. Martin Craney, a veteran in the game, but not the paciest, not the best on either feet. I thought Costa could have caused him some serious damage, which he did when he came on the 70th minute. But let's take it back a little bit. Leeds started the game, as I said, very, very well. Still not convinced with Click at the minute. Not convinced with him whatsoever. I don't think... he's got his shooting boots on, which isn't doing the wingers any favours with the amount of assists that that they're setting Click up for. He's always on the penalty spot. His positional awareness is always very good, but he just doesn't seem to put his foot through it. And he even alluded to it in the Q&A on LeedsUnited.com that ever since we've started singing that song, he's not been able to shoot, and it's so evident. I mean, they're so weak and passive. I thought Pablo actually started the game pretty poorly, ironically. He was giving a lot of balls away, a lot of crossfield passes to Harrison, weren't coming off, giving him a lot to do, didn't really feel, he was getting into it, but then he grew and grew in the game, and that's one thing about Pablo Hernandez. When he gets hold of that ball, he's always a creative spark, always the person who's going to get things moving, and I thought he was excellent today overall, getting in those positions. 2 brilliant saves from the goalkeeper, Shea, who, let's have a little bit of a word on, was absolutely phenomenal today. Absolutely phenomenal. From what I'm gauging on Twitter, we had some more absolutely diabolical I follow commentators, which I'm actually doing a project on at university to do with the bias of sporting commentators and what that can incite. I'm actually doing a project on that at university with my journalism studies, because I was that incensed by the Blackburn game and the commentary there and what that can insinuate, and that's been happening again today by the sounds of it. Some seriously biased commentators, which I just feel you don't get from Ben Parker and the lads at LUTV. You just don't get that. It's very balanced, very impartial. I don't really understand where this is coming from, a real hatred toward Leeds United. But let's not get sidetracked. The game was good. Yeah, and up to half-time, I even tweeted out and I said Leeds were good. I thought Calvin was excellent. I didn't think his deliveries were great today. One thing I will touch on, something's got to be done about our corners. I've been saying it from this point last year. It's the same old stuff. You cannot say to me, when Leeds get a corner, you're ever excited. You never get off your seats. The custom corners need to happen. Pep Guardiola's the absolute king of it. He's able to custom corner, you'll get Bernardo Silva cutting in, or you'll get Mahrez cutting in, and they'll have some sort of weird sort of set piece which looks really simple and it's really easy on the eye, but Leeds need to do something like that. We need to change it up a little bit. These wonderful balls in from Calvin, don't think they were as good today, but generally they're very good. They're not getting met by anything because we don't have enough height, and it needs to be changed around a little bit, and that is one thing where we're very weak. I think about 7 or 8 corners today headed away by Luton players, not even a challenge, so that is where we're very, very weak. I thought Berardi was very good today, excellent in the defensive structure. I would say that he was beaten far too easily for that Izzy Brown cross. That was very, very sloppy. But let's take it back a little bit. The half-time whistle went. I was really happy with Leeds United's performance so far. But you always thought, are we going to get sucker punched here? Because we'd not taken the lead, and we've seen it multiple times before where Leeds, when we don't take our chances, Harrison's got to score, Bamford's got to score as well when he hits the bar, has to score. Somehow it doesn't go in the net, which is sort of classic Leeds, isn't it? It never seems to go in, never seems to fall for us. Half-time whistle went, and I was a little bit nervy, I won't lie. Came back, second half, a controversial decision. Izzy Brown went down, and the play carried on. Patrick Bamford with his normal S-H-I-T housery when he's going like that to the Luton fans. Brilliant finish. Beats the keeper, Shea, who had a phenomenal game. Had an absolutely phenomenal game in the Luton net. Man of the match, definitely, over 2 teams. But yeah, Bamford off the mark, fantastic finish, drilled low, the keeper's near post as well, probably should have been doing better for that one, but you can excuse him. And I thought Bamford was quite quiet today, but what all strikers do, when the ball gets to them, they come alive, when he hit the bar, but he also two good finishes. And yeah, they scored, within sort of 6 minutes of us, and it was really disappointing, a lofted ball in, and once again, the ball into our penalty box where a headed goal. We've got to sort that out. Too many headed chances in our box for me, just in general, even if it's not set pieces, even if it is from open play, that's too easy, way too easy. And it's the only real sort of clear-cut chance they had, and then the momentum started building, and you sort of started getting flashbacks of Millwall, flashbacks of Charlton, flashbacks of QPR, where the crowd gets on top and, the referee starts making pressurised decisions. And I was thinking to myself, this is dangerous because we've never been able to stand up to this before. The referee normally sort of gets intertwined with what the crowd's doing. They feel the pressure, especially in this second league. They're not good enough to be able to deal with that, and that's why they're not at the top level. And thirdly, we've got patterns of doing it before where we crumble in situations like that. But we didn't, they had an offside goal. I was thinking when they scored that goal, I thought, here we go again. It's same old Leeds. And I was thinking to myself, when I wanted to be proved wrong so much, my prediction's going to be right. Leeds, as I said in my pre-match, chance after chance after chance after chance, don't put it away, and we're punished by a 15-minute spell. Exactly what I said in my pre-match. So I loved it when we managed to get that second goal. Luton were just, they put 11 men behind the ball, didn't they, for 30 minutes. I thought Jack Harrison, I will say, I thought he was good in the first half. I liked how he was just getting the ball out of his feet and whipping it in. I said this last season, when he does that, he's very good at doing that. Step over, takes it on his left, crosses it in. Very good at doing that. Problem is he doesn't do it enough. He doesn't do that enough, Jack Harrison. And if he did that, I genuinely think he'd get more assists, and he'd get amongst the goals a lot more. And he was doing that in the first half, getting the ball out of his feet, whipping that cross in, making the defender make a mistake, or Patrick Bamford potentially getting on the end of it. The problem is with Harrison, it's when he overcomplicates it, takes 48 touches, plays it, and then we lose it, and we lose momentum. And I thought Harrison did well today. I really did. And obviously the goal came for Leeds United. Great finish by Bamford. Love a little deft touch. And I'm going to take it back to the substitutions. Jack Clark coming on was an interesting one. But you know what? To say he'd not played for Leeds for as long as he had, kept the ball, didn't lose the ball retention, as I deem, is so high in this Leeds United side, possession-based side. Keeping hold of that ball is astronomical. We've got to do that. And Jack Clark did that exceptionally well when he came on. Really mature head when he came on. Obviously, he'll be looking forward to working under Mourinho at Tottenham. He'll definitely have something to prove in this Leeds United side, so long may that continue. And I like him being an option off the bench, and I like the fact that he's got about 20 minutes there. On the other side, obviously, I've mentioned him before, Helder Costa didn't lose the ball once, a few step overs, and he could have had 3 or 4 assists if we could finish. Put the ball on a plate for Click 3 separate times. Click in the 8 yards from goal every single time. It was a mirror image. Step over from Costa on his left foot, drilled it in with his right. Click didn't finish it 3 separate times. And seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, I want more from Costa. Well, we've seen this multiple times. Costa gets the ball and people have very vague memories. He gets the ball, he crosses it in. But if he doesn't get an assist, so if the person doesn't finish it off, that's never happened. And Costa needs to do more. If Costa does so much, if he can beat 2 or 3 players, or he can beat 1 or 2 players on that side, and he can cross the ball in, and the player in the middle doesn't finish it, that's not Costa's fault. Costa has done his job, which he did exceptionally well today. If Costa came on and was crap, I'd call it. Do you know what I mean? There was times where I was like, go on, take him on. But he did that. Kept the ball. He was brilliant on the counter-attack. There was nothing. I think he's growing it and he's getting better in this Leeds United side. He fronts the defender up every time and takes them on. What more do you want? You've got to have better finishes in that 6-yard box. Click for me today was poor. He's been poor for a while now. But, he could have had a hat-trick today. He could have had a hat-trick. Bamford could have had another one as well. A nice clip ball in where Bamford headed it over. What more do you want from Costa? What more do you want? Didn't lose the ball once. Ball retention was 100% according to statistics. Was on for 20 minutes. Jobs are good and he's done so well there. But people, because he's worth £15 million, he has to be scoring a hat-trick every game. And I don't know what more people want from him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what more. He's on for 20 minutes, for Christ's sake. I just think you've got to give him a chance. And it's so contradictory and hypocritical when people give other players the amount of time that they give them, and they only give Costa 7 games. And in these 7 games, he's grown these last 3 games. Sorry about the rant, but it just winds me up because it's like people have got favourites and it's not fair. But listen, we were good, and I was really impressed by that performance. I was, and it's just such a shame that we weren't able to put the gloss on the finish with some of the chances missed. Do you know what I mean? Serious amount of chances for Click. Obviously, Roberts had a good one. Bamford had a couple in the first half, which he should have done better in. The bit where he's in acres of space, where he should have at least put it in for Hernandez. But listen, good day at the office, a win, and that's what champions do. That's what league winners do. You win it, you grind it out, and that's exactly what we did in that game. Get in there, massive win, roll on Reading on Tuesday, another tough game, but another game Leeds United should be winning. I'll check out if I'm going to do a preview for that game. Might not work out timing-wise. Make sure you leave a like on this video, leave your comment. What did you think of the game? What do you think was the controversial talking points in the game? And I'll see you in a bit.